Now, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr admitted Tuesday that Steph Curry was dealing with injury throughout the playoffs last season. Now, despite Curry's struggles, Kerr says Golden State was still only minutes away from a second consecutive title. Steph didn't play his best against Cleveland, but for some of the series, he had huge games in other parts of the playoffs, which got us to that point. That's all a part of it. And if we had won the last game, nobody would have cared about Steph or his struggles. Max, is Kerr making excuses for Curry?
I take no pleasure in saying this. I really don't, because Steph Curry is, among other things, a role model for kids, and it's one of the reasons he connects with kids in the sense that he's not the biggest, certainly. He's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, and he doesn't jump the highest in a sport where all that stuff helps. But through practice and hard work, he's got handles, just, maybe the best, arguably, and he shoots better than everyone else. That's repetition. Of course, it involves talent and ability, but kids can relate to it because they're like, even if I don't have all the tools or all the talent, I can work hard and become, at one point, I thought last year, the best in the world. Now, Stephen A., before you object to that, I didn't think he'd have been the best in any other era, but I thought by the middle of last year, you know what, this guy's become the best player in the world. So injury, is that what kind of sunk their chances, Steph's injury? Well, he was hurt. It was obvious. He couldn't get separation when he switched on to bigs and stuff. He wasn't 100%. But did injury, can that explain why he carelessly, casually throws a behind-the-back pass out of bounds meant for Klay Thompson in the waning minutes of the Game 7 of the NBA Finals? Can injury explain why he's missing open shots? They didn't score in the last 4:39 of Game 7, the greatest half-court offense ever, based mostly around Steph's ability to shoot the deep three. And they didn't score at all, and he's missing shots. Can you ascribe that to injury? No. So I take no pleasure in saying this, but the reason they lost is not about his injury or anything like that. Stephen A., the reason they lost is because LeBron James took Steph Curry's heart. It kills me to say it, but that's what happened. LeBron heard the chatter. Steph's the best in the world. The Golden State Warriors this, the Golden State Warriors that. And he was dunking it on the whole world, which included Steph Curry. He was yelling in Steph Curry's face. Steph really was kind of shrugging his shoulders, looking away, slouching down, walking away. LeBron James, the actual best player in the world, disabused people like me of the notion that, in fact, Steph, because he's so uniquely adapted to this NBA environment, could somehow pass him even in this era. And that's the reason they lost, because LeBron convinced Steph, you ain't me, you're not on my level. Steph bought it. Because it's true, LeBron took his heart, and so they lost. It's not about injury.
Max Kellerman, when my former partner was sitting there, I used to want to get security to get him out. I don't feel that way about you. Instead, I would like to make a personal request for HR department to come down and instantly have you drug tested. I mean, the stuff that you just said, that just came out of your mouth, LeBron snatching Steph Curry's heart. Did he snatch Steph Curry's heart when they went up 3-1? Did he snatch Steph Curry's heart when Steph Curry dropped 38 in Game 4, hit 11-25 from the field, 7-13 from three-point range? No, that wasn't the case. Steph Curry did not play well. Steph Curry made mistakes. Steph Curry wasn't himself because he was somewhat hurt. But if anybody gave it to him, it wasn't LeBron, it was Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, who averaged 27 in the finals. Kyrie Irving, who got hurt in overtime of Game 1, the previous NBA Finals, who would have beaten the Golden State Warriors the first go-round if they had been fully loaded and healthy that first NBA Finals against them. It wasn't about LeBron James. Yes, LeBron James blocked shots. Yes, LeBron James was doing damage. Yes, LeBron James was getting up in Steph Curry's mug and talking smack, which I absolutely, positively love. But LeBron James isn't sitting here today as an NBA champion for the Cleveland Cavaliers if Kyrie Irving didn't show up. You can act like you don't know, but you know.
Well, you need help.
Listen,
you can't do it all by yourself.
Let me say something right now.
Who's the MVP?
Who closed? No.
Who's the MVP?
LeBron, absolutely. Who closed?
Yep.
It was Kyrie Irving. Who was in
Tyronn Lue switched Steph on to Kyrie so Kyrie can get that shot off.
Wait a minute. We get all that. But the point that you're missing is that it was Kyrie who was in constant attack mode, salivating out of his mouth every second that Steph Curry was guarding him because he went right at him, because this is what you're supposed to do with a dude who is an offensive juggernaut, but potentially is a defensive liability. Now, do I think that Steve Kerr was making an excuse for Steph Curry? No. He was speaking in reality, but in the end, what it comes down to is that he's also glossing over what Steve Kerr could have done better. In retrospect, in hindsight, we had questions about Steve Kerr going for that all-time regular season record, allowing the guys to do so. Was that a mistake? Potentially. Steph Curry getting himself hurt in the Houston series, okay? And then obviously being a little banged up through Portland, and then obviously Oklahoma City. You still played them. During the finals, okay? Yes, he won, and they blew him out in Game 2. But he played 36 minutes in Game 1, 40 in Games 4 and 5, 35 in Game 6, 39 in Game 7. You've got Sean Livingston. You got Leandro Barbosa. You've got a multitude of other weapons that you could have used. You should have got Klay Thompson the ball a bit more than you actually
Steph
did.
threw it away, doing the behind the back to
You're talking
Klay.
one play. I'm talking the game.
It's a one-possession game at the end.
No, I'm saying you're talking a play. I'm talking over the course of the series. There were times that other people should have had the ball, and Steph Curry, dare I say, should have been used as a decoy. I don't think Steve Kerr did a good enough job of that. But in the end, it comes down to LeBron having help in Kyrie, Curry not having enough help in Steve Kerr for that particular Game 7. And ultimately, I don't think it was a choke job. I think it was the combination of injuries, greatness on the part of Kyrie. It's not a major choke job.
It's an historic. Listen, I love Steph, but it was an historical choke job on par with LeBron's choke job in Miami against Dallas, 4 consecutive fourth quarters where he just doesn't want it. It's okay. He overcame it. He became a very clutch player, LeBron did.
You can't say Steph didn't want it. Steph was missing. He wanted it.
He was throwing the ball away.
He did not choke.
He
did not choke. Look, he messed up, but he didn't choke.
I am shocked at you.
Yeah, he did not choke.
Because you were once a newspaper columnist of extraordinary ability.
I was.
Able to tell the story, to discern and tell the story in Philadelphia, the story of what's happening. Now,
I was due. And if you watched me during the NBA Finals, which I'm sure you did and you love doing so, the bottom line is I was telling the story then. It's the same story I'm telling now.
I was texting you during the...
That's right. That's right. And I have to educate you then.
Now the tables have turned. Was it a plot line that Kyrie was going at Steph? Of course. That's a plot line. It's a minor plot line compared to the major story. There are lots of little storylines. The major story was the two juggernauts in the West and the East with a player who's really the greatest player of his era. But has his time passed? Has Steph now taken over? The consecutive regular season MVPs, 73-win team, beating Jordan's team. Are they better than the Bulls? You know, all this kind of stuff. Could Steph overcome LeBron? And they were up 3-1, and LeBron let Steph know, no, you can't.
But LeBron,
when the history of the NBA
but LeBron letting Steph Curry know speaks to the greatness of LeBron. It doesn't speak to Curry choking.
You think Steph wanted it? Did it look like Steph wanted it?
Excuse me. Again, he was going for it. He was just not healthy. He was just not, and he messed up. But he didn't choke. Oh, I can show you choke
when you mess up Game 6. You know what it's called when you mess up under pressure? Will you look up what it says? Google, messing up under pressure. You know what you're going to see? Choke.
No.
I'll get that after the break. Did this close game get you a little more excited about the Warriors this season?
No, it did not. I wish it did. It had me, it actually had the opposite effect.
Really?
It actually had me that much more annoyed at Kevin Durant going to Golden State. Because you look at the Western Conference. Look, I just saw my man CP3 the other day, NBA Players Association's new offices in Midtown. Spectacular job on all those parts. He's really trying to do a phenomenal job of taking care of the players and setting the tone moving into the next millennia. He should be very proud of himself. But I don't see his Clippers team really competing with the Golden State Warriors, because as long as you get to foul DeAndre Jordan in the fourth quarter, you know, he's either going to have to make free throws or sit on the bench. And I'm sorry, that's not going to be enough to beat Golden State. Pau Gasol is very good and gifted, but this ain't Tim Duncan 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so everybody else in the Western Conference, as far as I'm concerned, are irrelevant and don't matter. And I think that while Golden State can be suspect defensively, particularly with the departure of Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes. The fact of the matter is they're so prolific offensively. You can't afford to make mistakes when you have the ball. Otherwise, they'll bury you, which is what I anticipate they will do. The sad part about this upcoming NBA season is that I only see one team giving them a shot, giving them a run for their money, and it happens to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are in the Eastern Conference. So when I looked at last night, I said to myself, unless someone gets hurt, and we're certainly not wishing for that to happen to anybody, this season is going to be the equivalent of watching, you know, some juggernaut AAU squad or something like that. We're basically watching the Golden State Warriors in cruise control skate through the season. They'll have, you know, they'll have their troubles, you know, making adjustments, you know, one basketball for all the offensive weapons they have. They won't win 73 games this year. They might win 70 or 71, you know, something like that. But in the end, once the regular season is over, and you're talking about the playoffs, you're talking about an elite offensive juggernaut of a team, to me, that can only be knocked off by the preeminent basketball superstar in the entire world. And his name is LeBron James. And whatever help you give him, that's going to be the only way that you have a shot to knock this team off. Last night reminded me of Warriors' dominance, because I looked at how Team USA was supposed to be so dominant, how interesting Australia made it, and I said everybody's going to jump on it and say, see, this could happen, this could happen. Oh, shut up. It's not going to happen, at least not during the regular season and into the Western Conference playoffs. I don't see it happening. It is imminent. Unless an injury takes place, it is Golden State, it is the Cleveland Cavaliers, a trilogy in the NBA Finals. That's what we have to look forward to. And unfortunately, I have to look forward to getting stuck in airports over the course of 2 weeks or so next June. That's what happened every single time. Every single flight I had was delayed. I spent more time in the San Francisco International Airport. I thought that was my home. I thought that was my home. They might as well have bought me a couch, you understand, or with a bed and just put it there. You understand? Because that's how much I was in San Francisco's airport. I'm just going to be stuck again, and I'm disgusted.
You did SportsCenter hits from the airport.
From the airport. You did.
That was
the
crazy.
airport.
That's quite a scene with him at the airport, too. I know why you asked the question, because you see a team you think is going to be unbeatable, almost kind of lose. They won by 10 points in the end, but get pushed. You say, hey, maybe it's possible. Here's the problem. It doesn't change my opinion about the season at all for the Warriors, because this is not a one-and-done tournament in the NBA. If the Warriors were a college team and they were entering the NCAA tournament and one loss could knock you out, sure, then there's no such thing as an unbeatable juggernaut. Even the best teams ever could lose to a mediocre team on an off night. A couple balls don't fall your way. But in the NBA, the best team always wins, because it's a best-of-7 series. So this doesn't change my mind at all about the upcoming season. That said, I'm very excited about the upcoming season. First of all, if you're a basketball junkie, you just like to watch NBA games, which I do. It doesn't matter who's playing. Milwaukee, they're kind of good now. You know, whoever it is. Utah, you see some young players, let alone the juggernauts, right? The big, sexy markets and the great teams. I'll just watch NBA, period. But coming into this season, Stephen A., you brought it up, a trilogy? Are you kidding me? The rubber match coming up where the Warriors beat a depleted Cavs team, and then the Cavs come back on the Warriors down 3-1 and beat them. And this is, in boxing, is called a rubber match because it bounces one way or another. 3 consecutive years, the same 2 teams. And it's so obvious that, as you say, barring catastrophic injury to a key player on one of those teams, or maybe even more than one player, Cleveland will 100% certainly come out of the East, and the Warriors will 100% certainly come out of the West. So in that sense, there's no drama. But in the fight, you get great NBA action in the meantime.
Really? Really? Yeah. Where? Where's the great NBA action?
So
see, that's the stuff that annoys me.
If the Spurs are playing the Clippers, are you watching?
Really? Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, I'm watching.
Okay.
But
I'm just checking.
Here's the difference. I was watching those games last year, trying to gauge who could do what against the Warriors.
And the answer was nothing.
Wait a minute now. Oklahoma City
That was
had
the
him.
one wild card.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
City had him, okay? But we didn't know whether or not Oklahoma City was going to get by San Antonio.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it was the suspense because, as you know, in boxing, matchups make fights. Well, matchup makes fights in basketball as well. So when you looked at San Antonio and said, okay, I could see San Antonio losing to Golden State, but I could see Oklahoma City beating San Antonio. So what's going to happen? And then San Antonio, you know, and San Antonio wasn't a better matchup for the Warriors than OKC, and then OKC knocked off San Antonio. And so you said, okay, they got a shot to take them. Now we're watching, literally watching, and we're not talking about consolation prize for the NBA. We're talking about consolation prize for the Western Conference.
Yeah, right.
We're literally sitting back and going like this, okay, who's going to finish number 2 in the West? There's no suspense.
By the way, there could be a dominant fighter on the
suspense.
top of a division. You could still see a fight between two good contenders. It is the takeover. By the way, in the words of Jay-Z, you even look at the Clippers, and you see DeAndre and Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. We don't believe you. You need more people.
Let me tell you something.
I mean, once the Warriors got Kevin Durant, it was a wrap in the Western Conference.
And I'm
but
telling
they
you
still got to play the
About to be a wrap in this
Cavs.
segment.
Hold on.
In the finals,
This
they got
very
the Cavs.
important.
That's Ali and Frazier.
This is very important. Jay-Z's the one that convinced KD to go to Golden State, okay? Let me tell Jay-Z, this is stop it. This is blasphemous stuff.
He's a
This is very
businessman.
blasphemous stuff. Yeah, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
That's what Jay-Z is saying, and I respect it. But the point is, I want Jay-Z to know Jay-Z's isolated. Jay-Z is isolated because even his crew, including me, all disagree with his decision. All disagree with his decision. Oh, Jay-Z don't want to sit in this hot seat.
Why not?
This ain't some rap concert. He don't want to sit up in here. Jay-Z don't want to sit up in here. And I'm trying to tell you that right now. Because let me tell you something, from a basketball perspective, even though I got to watch my mouth because Jay-Z the one that's always pointing out how wrong I am. And he's usually right about me being wrong. So I get that. But the point is...
Right here. I'm going to point it out to you after this segment.
He would not hesitate. But in this particular equation, and it has nothing to do with KD leaving OKC, going to Golden State, this is the Jay-Z that we knew that loved competition. Now, all of a sudden, it's about business.
Because you're missing
We
the
have to
ultimate
go to break.
competition.
We have to go to break.
We got to go to break next. I don't want to listen to you no more.
I have something for you tonight.